Hello and welcome to Perfect Glamour Fashion. Today's tutorial is a continuation of our last tutorial where we learned how to cut an asymmetric overbust corset with this trending hemline. So stay tuned. So the first thing to do is to cut out what you have on the pattern that we drafted earlier in the last video on your fashion fabric. But while you're cutting, you're going to be giving half-inch sewing allowance. Now this is the back. So I gave half-inch sewing allowance towards the side I'll be joining to the other piece. But for the side, I used 1 inch. Okay, so half-inch for the part that you'll be joining to the other piece and half-inch for the sides. I did the same thing for the front. Remember, the pattern for the front for the right is different from the pattern for the left, so when you're cutting, make sure you don't cut together. You understand? You cut each pieces the way it is. Now on the lining pieces, I also went ahead to add my wording. Okay, so this is the softest wording that I could lay my hands on, and that's what I used. So your wording should span between your underbust. You should stop at your underbust, okay, and then half-inch after your shoulder slope. You understand that? Okay, so just mark wherever your underbust is and then pad up until you can be able to give your sewing allowance. I hope that made sense. Okay, if you want a detailed tutorial on how to make a padded bustier, okay, because this is a padded bustier that just have asymmetric hemline, shoulder. Okay, so if you want a detailed tutorial on how to do this padding and all of that, just comment breast padding in the comment section and I'll give you a detailed tutorial on how to do this. I've done this several times on my page. Okay, so I believe you should be able to do it by now, but if you don't, I am there for you. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do this. Now for the sides, what you just need to do is to locate where your underbust is and then cut a circle, but then you come in by 1.5 inch from the side. Okay, I hope that made sense. If you didn't understand what I did, just look at what I did. Just pause, observe what I did, and just do the same thing. Okay, all right. So the next thing we're going to do is just to join our pieces. First of all, I'm joining the front pieces, and then I'm joining the lining pieces also. I also do the same thing for the back. I'll join the pieces according to the way I cut it on the pattern paper. I'm going to piece them together. Now observe that I also lined the main fabric with hairstay. Okay, all right, so now I'm done joining, and then the next thing I'm going to do is to stop stitch on both sides. This is my lining pieces. Now I'm going to stop stitch on both sides of the sew line for the cup. This is to help it relax. Now you can see how it looks. I top stitched on the both lines of that sewing. That's my sewing line. Okay, and then I'll trim out the excesses. This is to help your bust relax. Though I've not ironed it, but it's already open and relaxed and all of that. When I iron it, it will only get better. You get that? All right, so with that done, the next thing I'm going to do is to iron open my seams. This is me. I've ironed open my seams. You see how flat they are lying? This is what you want to have. Okay, you see how that looks? This is what you want to have. So the next thing we're going to do is to cage our bust. Now to cage your bust, you just need to do the essential lines. But if you're a busty person, do more than the essential lines. Okay, so the essential lines is your nipple points, your nipple to nipple. But before I started running these essential lines, I added another boning channel by the side. Okay, immediately after the cup, the wording that I placed, I added a straight line. Just draw a straight line. Okay, this is going to help me in the bust caging to know where my bust span is going to stop. Okay, all right, so now I use the pattern paper. I've not discarded the pattern paper yet. I used it to mark the nipple points. After marking your nipple point, you're going to just rule a straight line across your nipple point. Okay, this is one of the important places you need to cage if you want to achieve fullness and let your bust caging stand very well. Okay, so I'll rule across that That's my nipple point, that's my chest line. And I'm using pen. I didn't know it's not visible enough. Okay, so the next place that is very important for this style is the neckline. You see the way that neckline is asymmetric. I'm going to place my front piece and lining together and trim before I start the bust caging. So I wanted to trim first so that once I cage it, I know that I would be getting exactly what I want. You get the point. Okay, I want them to be equal. So this is me just trimming it out, making sure that the front is equal to the back and all of that. So once I'm done, this is what it looks like now that I'm done. So back to our bust caging. So I'm going to go down 1/2 inch from the neckline and just follow that neckline like that and go all the way to that pointy side, okay? And then I will also cage around the armhole because I want it to stand. You guys, I don't want to wear it and then I don't want my customer to wear it and then she'll be struggling with it. I want it to stand by itself, and this is something that boning can help you with. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is to run our boning channels through the sew lines, and then you can now, this is just addition. If you want, you can add extra boning lines, but I didn't use these extra boning lines eventually because they are not really that important. Okay, especially because my customer is not that busty. Okay, but if your customer is busty, please do like 5 or 6 boning channels. You get that, right? Now for sewing the boning, I'm using the smallest sewable boning. Okay, this is like 0.4 or so. All right, so I'm going to place it along that neckline, and I'm going to sew on the outer part only. I'm not going to sew the inner part. This is to help me finish up my caging very neatly. Okay, I don't want any part of the boning poking out, so I'm going to go ahead and sew it, and then I'm going to do the same thing for the under bust. I'm going to place my boning in the around that under bust area, and I'm going to sew the outer part. That's the part that is not facing the white wording. Okay, so this is it. Now I've gone ahead to sew the rest of the lines inside. I've sewn on the bust line, and then I've sewn on the other the 3 sew lines I have, and you see that it was open. Now I'm going to go ahead and close the rest of it, like the rest of the boning. I'm going to close the sides that are facing in. You see that I've closed it, and then I've added other boning lines. Okay, I hope that made sense. I hope you understood it. So if you have any question, please don't forget to ask me in the comment section. I'll be there to answer. Okay. All right, so for the back, I'm going to be ruling 3 lines. These 3 lines are going to help me for my lacing bar. Okay, it's 1/2 inch line, 3 1/2 inch line. Okay, I'm going to be ruling it out, and then that's where I'm going to be sewing the boning. I'm going to be sewing the boning across, but I'm going to jump the first 1/2 inch line, and then I'm going to sew 3 lines after that first 1/2 inch line, and then I divided the side by 2, and then I ruled a straight line. I'm going to be having another boning channel there. Okay, I'm going to have another boning line there. All right, so now I'm going to flesh out this bust caging that I did, and then the first thing I did was to place a hemming gum. This is a hemming gum. I know it's black. Okay, it's a new one I saw in the market. Okay, so it's black. It's a black hemming gum. It's big, so it's just so effective. Instead of cutting those smaller ones and lining it up, this one is just so effective. So I placed my fiber, and then I ironed it out. Okay, so you iron this out and trim. So go ahead and place as many layers of fiber as you're comfortable with, I'm done placing my fiber. I'm done ironing it out, and so I'm going to go ahead and join the back. You see how the back looks? Okay, so if you didn't understand what I explained earlier, you can just look at how the back looks and do the same for yours. So I'm joining the sides to the front, that is the back to the front of both the main fabric and the lining. Okay, so I didn't add plastic boning to this particular blouse, but if you want to add plastic boning to it, go ahead and form your boning lines. Okay, for the plastic boning. Okay, you can do that by just running 1/2 inch stitch away from the sew lines. Okay, So that's just how you can do that, and then you have your boning channels for your plastic boning. So the next thing I did was to join the main fabric with the lining, and then when you are joining, place your hemming gum as you're sewing. Okay, so sew along with your hemming gum. This is going to help it relax when you're ironing it after sewing. Also join the back, the lining to the fabric of the back. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is to notch very well. Make sure you don't cut your material, your lines, your sew lines when you are notching. Okay, so notch, especially around that armhole area, notch it very well, and then you turn it over. So this is me, I've turned it over. You see how neat it's looking? So the next thing we're going to do is to follow this last line at the back and sew a straight line. You can sew the 3 lines that you use for your to place those sewable boning. You can sew those 3 lines just to help you when you're placing your eyelets. Okay, so the next thing is to pipe this down part. So I cut a 2-inch strip of this material on bias fold. You place it on the back first and sew round, then turn it over to the front and top stitch. So that's it, you're done. So this is what we have after I've gone ahead to iron. This is it, looking very neat, looking very clean. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I will see you in my next video, but then don't forget to subscribe if you're not yet subscribed to this channel. And then if you have any question at all, go ahead and ask me. Now I want to mention this. So my client requested I made this short or half-length turtleneck top for her to be using to wear this corset and another corset that she had, okay, that was also sleeveless. Okay, so I made this turtleneck, it's a black turtleneck, and then she's going to be wearing it inside. So if you want to see how I did it, I have a turtleneck video on this channel, so I'm going to link it to this video. All right, so let's see you in my next video. Bye.